What's up, guys? Welcome. We are here about to go through our podcast. Welcome to Dragon's Well Gaming. And my name is Isaac, but you guys can call me Sprites. And right here next to me is my good pal.
Hi, my name is Mark. You can call me Maverick Zero. Yes, that is a Mega Man reference.
Absolutely. We got this podcast here. And quite simply put, we're just going to be talking about games, anything gaming, anything connected to gaming, whether it's movies, whether it's hardware, you name it. We're going to be talking about gaming. And so, we are excited to be able to tell you about why exactly we want to do this. One of the big reasons why is, first off, we want to be able to give content to you guys that you are going to enjoy. And who knows? You guys might like hearing the sound of our voice. We have no clue.
Well, and that's one thing I'll add is, for content creators, there's so much pressure, and one of the things that we would like to try to do is create a family friendly environment. We're both family men. And we want to create content that not only that we feel safe for our families to listen to, but your families, and we also are looking for our kids. I want my kid to listen to this. So,
absolutely, yeah, it's so hard nowadays, and shout out to all the content creators out there. There's so many great ones out there, but there's a lot of good ones that are also not something that you're comfortable sharing with your family. So, I hope that we can be one of those that you don't mind playing in the car, and maybe we can, be a way of bonding with your family in some way, shape, or form. But yeah, that concludes what we're just our little introduction. Want to welcome you guys here to the Dragon's Well. And we are excited to get into it. So what's the first thing you want to talk about there, Maverick?
Well, first, I think we've been talking about doing this for a while, and one of the things that has come up so much, and I've seen it in the news, and I think the Pokémon Scarlet and Violet game.
Oh yeah,
they. Of course, it's big seller. Minus all of the technical issues, and
yeah,
I mean,
nothing like the head spinning when you're gonna go try to register your Pokemon. Excuse me, sir. Can I have my Pokemon back? And you're possessed by the Exorcist or something,
or rolling past a boulder that you can't get past just to get to that next part of the game.
And also, some people even go. And before they complete some parts of the game, they're able to hack, essentially bypass it by going backwards on the Koraidon or Miraidon and jumping backwards.
I actually did that a few times.
And for some reason, you go higher. For those who know what I'm talking about in Pokemon, you can ride a Pokemon that enables you to be able to jump and run and do more things than you normally wouldn't be able to do without it. And as you progress through the game, it unlocks more abilities. But it just, for some reason, it goes better backwards than forwards.
I don't know, but it reminds me so much of Breath of the Wild, because with Breath of the Wild, it began as challenges to see how fast you could get down this hill, or how fast you could get up the hill, or could you do this? How could you cheat the system? And that has been a big thing with this Pokemon franchise. It's Scarlet and Violet it is a wonderful game. I've probably sunk 75 plus hours into it. My kids love it. We've spent a lot of time in that game, and even knowing all the tech issues that it's got right now, I'd buy it again.
Well, and they're also talking about DLC.
Yeah.
They're talking about DLC.
I
releasing
hope
some more Paradox Pokemon. I think personally, I really enjoyed Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I think they incorporate a lot of great things. There's a few things that were to me. I thought they could have done better. But and saying that, what's some things that you've really enjoyed about this game?
I mean, I think each time we've progressed better and better with traversal, and actually getting a Pokemon to ride from the beginning was pretty neat. And I don't want to do anything to spoil anything for anybody who hasn't finished it, but beyond that traversal, I mean the open world was, and again, I know it has its glitches, but the open world was massive, and it was something that I think the Pokemon series really needed. You take games like Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild had its technical glitches, but above all, and everything I think gets compared to Breath of the Wild. But Pokemon
especially
did
open world,
yeah, and that's the thing. I think Pokemon did a really good job with it. I hope that the Pokemon Company will learn from these kind of mistakes.
And I think Legends Arceus was kind of like their, in a way, in a way, just kind of testing the waters a little bit,
Oh, I agree.
Because you saw a lot of glitches there. You saw a lot of balancing issues in the game and whatnot. But still, it was a very fun game, and I think they saw a lot of great response from that game that I think encouraged this. And I think they already had it in the works for sure. But that inspired, and I think probably taught them a lot to be able to make Pokemon Scarlet and Violet what it is. So.
Well, I think the problem was there were mechanics from Arceus and there were mechanics from Scarlet and Violet that I feel like maybe they should have taken a little bit more from Arceus and a little less from the older games. The battling was fine. I like the open world battle system. I do like the minor tweaks with the interface and everything that they had. What I didn't care for was, or what I liked about Arceus, what I disliked about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is I like the ability to still sneak up on them and catch them without actually entering that battle, especially with low-level Pokemon. I mean, I feel like they could have probably added that.
I agree. I never really even thought about that. But no, yeah, that's for sure. That's a good... Instead of having to fight 15,000, P-Doves or something, and you're like, listen, I've already taken out, like, the vast majority of the P-Doves here in this area. I don't know why I have to keep doing this, but
well, and that was one of the things for me too, like for shiny hunting. There was a slight glitch where shiny hunting was a little broken. I mean, I know
a lot easier, right?
Yeah. I mean, I picked up a lot, of course. And I've never been a real big shiny hunter until this game. And because I'm gonna be honest, I have not shiny hunted a lot to be able to find many, but in this game, I've got 4 or 5.
Well, the shiny rates are up, and and also you get to see them in the open world. I think that's an incentive to me too. I get to not only see my shiny in a match or in a battle, but I get to see my shiny in the open world if I throw it out.
Well, I can tell you what's disappointing is when you catch one and their stats are horrible.
Oh, yeah. Bad typing, bad natures. Oh, yeah. No, I agree. I think Pokemon Scarlet and Violet did a lot of wonderful things. One of my favorite things from a different perspective was the competitive side of things. Now, I'm not a competitive battler, but I watch a lot of competitive battling content. And a lot of the times, especially in the past with like X and Y and Sword and Shield, you'll find that there's going to develop a certain meta, and so a great deal of teams, if you're going to compete at a high level, you're going to mimic some sort of team that somebody else has, right? And you can still say that that's similar to now. But I think one of the coolest mechanics that I didn't know how I was going to feel about it at first was the terrestrialization, which I butchered that. But the Terra types, I'm going to say that because I can actually pronounce it. But
there you go.
The Terra types are something that is so fascinating to me that you can transform anything into a different typing. That is incredible. Like, you know, you still are seeing people come up with brand new teams, and I know like Murkrow was something, for those who are competitive battlers out there that listen, Murkrow was something that was insane. And continues to be insane in the meta, and is used everywhere. But you still see an incorporation of so many different teams. To me, it's a breath of fresh air, being able to watch competitive and not have the same 2 or 3 teams that's going to be around the top tier. You're seeing people have to use different things and come up with different strats, because even a mon that you know forever and a half has been this specific typing, it can now be anything.
Well, like Charizard now, he's finally a dragon type.
Finally. Charizard.
30 years, we're finally making Charizard. I guess it hadn't been 30.
Welcome to Dragon Wheels Gaming, where Charizard is now finally a dragon. He can be welcome at the well.
He can absolutely.
Yeah. We welcome Charizards here at the well. But no, and then not to go too long on this subject, but I really enjoyed that. I think it was a breath of fresh air for sure. One thing I personally had a bit of an issue with. I love the open world concept. I love the implement of it. I think it could have been done a little bit better. I think there could have been some sort of scaling in the game, so that, because I don't know if anybody else did this, but to me, when you get into the game, you can go anywhere you want, which is amazing, right? After a little bit of story. Well, with me, I went what I believe to be actually the wrong way. And so I ended up battling gyms and taking on other events in the game that were far above my level, and didn't do other gyms that were on the other side of the map, and then had to go back and do those gyms and realize that these gyms are still level like 15.
Well, and that's one of the things I had a problem with, because I jumped back and forth. So I started on I guess I started on the west side, and yeah, I'll never forget. I was asked at the house. I was like, "So which side should I go to?" And I'm like, "You should go to the east side." And I'm like, "Oh, wait a minute, no, I messed that up.
Yeah, don't go to the east.
I meant west."
So don't go to the east, guys.
Yeah. So
the east is where I went, and I tell you, I was like, "Why are these guys so high level?" And
that was a little rough.
And then you go to the west side, and you find out that on the west side there's like, I'm barreling through with level 40s, 50s, and I'm on the left side now, and just completely destroying everything that's in my path. And I'm like, this isn't even a challenge. I did 3 gyms on the left side that didn't even, I just spammed the A button.
Well, then it feels like Arceus, because you're just like getting into a battle throwing a Pokeball, and you can usually catch them.
Yeah. So I think there could have been some sort of scaling, and I think there's a few ways to go about it. I recommended that you could have, there could be a setting just like in the settings menu that you can turn on that enables you to be able to turn on self-scaling. You can scale off your badges that you have.
Well, I mean, especially for like Pokemon gyms. I mean, they could have easily done the scaling for the gyms, and they could have kept low-level Pokemon near the road. The further you venture out, were the higher level Pokemon.
Yeah, that's a cool idea.
You could even do that so that you're encouraged to
kind of
get off the beaten path.
Yeah, absolutely, and it really explore the open world. But then you got that, and another one what I'd suggest was possibly even doing some sort of like scaling based off your party. Now that's going to be a little harder, and I don't know, by no means am I can I code or anything like that, but it's a possibility that you could have something like that going on where you have the ability to be able to plug in a new mon in your party and it scales off the highest level Mon in your party. So, and the scaling doesn't have to immediately match the level, but, say for instance, you got a bunch of Fanfies surrounding a Donphan, and the Donphan clearly is going to be level higher than the Fanfies.
Right,
Needs to be. They don't need to be the same level, because that makes no sense why they're following him when they're higher level,
Right.
I'm like, why? It's like, you're the boss because you're bigger, but not because you're smarter or stronger.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely not. But those are just little critiques, not to sound like we're whining or anything like that, but just little critiques that I hope that in the future, if they ever do something like this again, that they implement, and I think they will. I think they found a lot of success.
Well, and that's the thing, the Pokemon series, no matter, they've all had flaws. All the Pokemon games have had flaws.
Yeah, 100%.
And I don't see anything stopping kids, adults, hardcore Pokemon players, they're not going to stop buying this game. They're not going to stop buying the next game.
No.
It doesn't matter how riddled with
It could be. Listen, Pokemon fans and Call of Duty fans are one and alike.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Every year we
It's
got
like carbon copies. You give me the same Pokedex, we're good to go.
Yeah.
Everybody complaining about the national decks not being put in there. I was like, I don't care. Just give me a bunch of. Just give me a handful. They don't even all have to be from the same region. Just give me a handful. I'm gonna play it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's great. It's so great. It's one of the greatest genres of games or types of games I think ever made. But
well, and that's the thing. If at the end of the day, if you make a $60 purchase on a video game and you had fun with it, that's all that matters.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would not not that I'm one to shy away from reviews, but if you truly want to look at reviews and stuff, but don't take it to heart. If it's something that you like, that you enjoy playing, things like that, go out and get it.
Preach.
Just go get it.
I'm telling you, man. Just because you watch all your favorite reviewers are saying, "Oh, it's going to be trash." I'm like, get it. If that's what you want to get, listen. I've played plenty of bad games in my life.
Oh, absolutely.
Games that were not developed properly, and I still had a blast with a lot of them.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, absolutely. Don't let somebody tell you not to get something. But
well, I think we can move on to the next topic if you want to. We kind of started looking at 2023 expectations. We're kind of new at this, and we started this podcast to inform gamers, and we actually together have a esports program that we shout out to our esports kids.
Yeah.
But we have an esports program where we work, and they enjoy it, and it's something that we actually get together and we discuss stuff like new things for 2023. So this actually was something that they had wanted us to talk about, and so for 2023 expectations, what are you thinking on the hardware side? What do you think Nintendo's going to do hardware side?
Oh, that's pretty interesting, actually. So, for those who don't know, I think there has been a great bit of rumor recently on a new system being released. The Switch is what? You'd say 5 years old?
I think it's going on 6. I know that I was one of those people that stood in line at midnight at Walmart waiting for my Nintendo
right
Switch
outside.
and
Brought your tent
and my special edition Breath of the Wild that I'm very proud of.
Brought your tent out there ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm talking about, guys. I'm telling you, dedication. That's what it takes to be a quality gamer.
True. That's true.
But no, there's been some rumor about potentially a second or maybe a Switch Pro, kind of an add-on or an advanced version of a Switch of some sort. I don't know what that's fixing to look like, but
well, and that's one of the things about that is we, I've followed a little bit of it. There's, of course, everybody hits up the Switch Pro, the Switch 2 rumors.
Yeah.
Don't ever expect Nintendo to do what you think they're going to do, because Nintendo's always going to do what they want to do. And
now Maverick, I know you're not going to like this very much, but I mean you're saying all of that, and I'm thinking Wii U. So
yeah.
I know. I rag on him a good bit. He enjoyed the Wii U, but I know the vast majority of people did not like the Wii U.
I did. I loved the Wii U. I mean, for me, like,
I just did not have the funds to say, hey, do I want to buy a Wii but sideways?
But do you know what the Wii U has that the Switch doesn't? Metroid Prime Collection.
Oh.
So I still to this day have my Wii U hooked up just so I can revisit my Metroid Prime collection. Because one of my hopes for 2023 is that we either get and I mean, I know that I'm kind of getting off the hardware here, but it's time for Metroid Prime. And what I'm worried about with what we've seen with the recent games that have come out is, is the Switch going to be able to handle it?
Yeah,
and that's what I'm worried about. I really do hope that, because I mean that's
the thing. So thinking about it, you have Xbox and you have PlayStation, battle in and out, right? And their battle it's a different one compared to the Switch, right? They're all in the money making business, of course, but it's weird. Their selling points are different from the Switches. Right, from the Xbox to the PlayStation, you have them battling it out for graphics, right? How a game looks and how a game performs. Where you have the Switch that gives you the luxury of handheld, which Nintendo's always been the king at, right? You see PSP not doing nearly as well as the DS. You see. And so you see that Nintendo has stuck to their guns in a lot of ways with the handheld versions of things. And so, that's one of my questions is this going to be a continued handheld / because if they want games to start being a little bit more pretty and games to be, functioning differently and graphics to be severely improved, then I don't know if that's possible with, having the hardware, but also being able to switch over to a handheld mode.
I say give me a more expensive dock that is just sold separately.
Yeah.
That upscales everything.
Oh,
and that gives the Switch more power. And
man,
that's where I'm at.
So have the hardware in the dock, and then had the Switch just able to run at a limited. So would you make the more graphic intensive games compatible with the Switch Pro? We're going to call it the Switch Pro for this hypothetical here. Would you enable that game to be able to be undocked and still be able to play?
Well, and that's the thing that the developers are going to have to do, is they would have to have that game be able to scale down. And I think that's going to be one of the biggest problems, is that, you get games like, like God of War that just recently released on PlayStation 5, or
pretty.
And I mean, it runs great.
Not that Kratos is pretty.
Yeah.
He's pretty rugged. It's pretty manly.
But it does. It runs great on PS5.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know that there's companies that have brought games to the Switch. One of the things that a lot of content creators out there talk about running well on the Switch is Witcher 3. I mean, I know that they have a few of the Assassin's Creed games on there.
What is that one? Persona 5 is that on there?
Yeah, it's on.
Persona 5's on there.
Yeah,
I don't know if that. I don't know how that looks on the Switch though.
I have not seen gameplay of it on the Switch. I know that it does. I haven't heard any complaints.
Well, let's take one thing that we're probably fixing to talk about here as well with upcoming games. so it kind of uses as a springboard as well. Fire Emblem.
Okay, so
three houses, right? Three houses looked fantastic.
well,
I thought it looked really good.
and it did, but the of course you've got your community that complains about, which they did the same thing with Breath of the Wild, that your textures weren't as clean and as
That's right.
clean as they should have been.
I agree with them. There was some texture issues,
and I think maybe that's why they seem to be going back to, with Engage, it looks like that they're going back to maybe a more traditional Fire Emblem game, because maybe they can have the better graphics without having to push all the school stuff. And I have looked at Engage a little bit, and I'm curious to see. I enjoy playing a little bit of Fire Emblem. I am by no means a hardcore Fire Emblem fan.
I got close to finishing 2 before, but that's it. I don't know what, it's like a Fire Emblem curse. I get super far into it, and then I just don't ever finish it. And I don't know what it is.
I don't know. I like tactical based RPGs. I just, for some reason, I've never been able to get too far into a Fire Emblem game.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am working on 3 houses as we speak, and we, I've enjoyed it. I think they did make it a little easier, where when your characters die, they don't stay dead. I think that was a big positive for somebody like me who probably doesn't play it. I'm not like a hardcore.
I think the vast majority of them, and I could be mistaken on this, because once again, neither one of us are Fire Emblem confidants.
Well, I think they started that on the on one of the DS
on the DS games. Yeah. So I played Birthright on the DS, and that was one of the games that I got really far in. I think I was like a mission or 2 off and didn't finish it. For those who are also Super Smash Brothers fans, that's where Corrin comes from, by the way. Just letting you know. But
that's where about a third of the cast from Super Smash Brothers comes from. His Fire Emblem.
But yeah, I think there was a like a hardcore mode that you could play, that like if a character died, they were dead.
Yeah, right.
And which I might be cynical, and we might not be as family friendly as we think we are, because I enjoyed playing it. I was like, listen, if I make a mistake and they pass away, that's on me.
That's
now
on
I gotta
you.
play. And maybe I'm a masochist, but I enjoyed it. It challenged me, and so.
Well, I think going back to the hardware specs and stuff. I mean, I've seen different things. Somebody released an article the other day that said that I cannot remember who actually said this, but they said that there was an actual Switch revision that was supposed to come out, because I know somebody took a big hit for it, because they pretty much said it was coming and it never did. And I'm sure COVID is still affecting technology and stuff in the world.
Everything.
And so I feel like that's probably something that happened. They probably couldn't get a chip, or some hardware or something.
Yeah,
and
it's on back order,
right,
with everything else.
for 2 years.
We need to find this location. But if anybody knows where the location of this storage building is, where everything is back ordered, please let us know, because we're waiting on a significant amount of things.
Yeah, wherever that shipping container is, I would like to find that.
We're gonna need the location.
Yeah, for sure.
Go ahead and drop the coordinates. But I do. So my expectations for Nintendo this year are, do I think they're going to release new hardware this year? Absolutely not. No, I don't think this year.
I don't think this year is going to be the release of new hardware.
I mean, then again, you got 7 working on your 7th year this year from the last hardware they released. So
and I think what we'll see, I really do. I think we'll see maybe an announcement close to the end of the year, because would it not be wild to have the Switch start with Breath of the Wild and end with Tears of the Kingdom? And
that would be a way to go.
And then you can't go out any better than that. The only way you go out better than that is you release Metroid Prime 4, and then you say, now we're going to release a Switch.
No,
too.
Maverick, that's poetic right there. That is poetic. I didn't even think about it like that. That's crazy.
I mean, 6 years down the road, I have been with
Yeah.
the Switch from Breath of the Wild to Tears of the Kingdom. That's what I can say.
And one thing, first off, the Switch has just been phenomenal. It's
absolutely.
and I think from a tactical standpoint, from just if you really think about it, you got the Xbox and you got PlayStation that just released not too long ago, right? It was a couple of years ago now, right?
Yeah. It was a couple years ago because I know it took a lot of people a long time to get either system, and I'm thinking that
you still can't get PlayStation 5s.
I think they're starting to release bundles, game bundles. Like there's a God of War Ragnarok game bundle, and I think that's what they're doing. I think they were holding off. Mm-hmm. They were pushing out a little bit here and there, and it's gotten easier. But I think now you can go to your local Walmart probably and pick one up.
Yeah. But you got from a tactical standpoint, you got Xbox and you got PlayStation that just got through, a few years ago, dropping their systems, and so now would be a perfect time here in the next couple of years, while they're still in development with the next gen of consoles, which I got a hot take on the consoles as well, that I think is gonna. People's eyeballs might shoot up. It might not be as hot as I think, but finishing this thought first, I think it would be a perfect time to drop a new system.
Well, and Nintendo always seems to fall between.
Yeah.
And what'll end up happening is,
and that's smart.
The PS5, the Xbox, they've sold fairly well, and when you can get them, the Switch has been selling.
It's insane.
Everywhere, so crazy.
Well, because I think Nintendo first off has always been more kid friendly, right?
Oh, yeah.
And kid oriented with a lot of their games, right? But there's still a lot of mature content on there. And once again, one thing that they don't offer is the handheld mode, and that's a big thing to me. At least it's a big thing.
Well, I mean, you look at households. I mean, when you take mine for example. I mean, I have one PS5 in my house. We will not be buying another PS5 for another room in the house.
Unless you want to take out a second mortgage on your house.
Right. Now, we have 4 Nintendo Switches because none of us can share. We don't know how to share. So, we have 4 Nintendo Switches, but one PS5. Now, we will all share the PS5 because the controllers are expensive enough.
Yeah.
I mean,
kind of forced to. But yeah, absolutely. If y'all really want to know the hot take on the consoles, I believe personally that consoles are going to be obsolete soon. I don't think that consoles are going to be as nearly as, and I think we're seeing it with 5 and the Xbox. I don't think that they sold, which I haven't looked at the numbers, so this is a blanket statement here, but I don't think that. I think consoles and console gaming in general has probably been going downhill for a good bit.
I agree.
And I think computers is offering almost all of the games too, in a lot of sense. There's a lot of games that you can get on consoles just as much as you can get on computers.
Well, I mean,
why do we need this if I can get all of these games, but also on my computer that normally tends to have a better processing power, or has the ability to be able to load up things a lot smoother.
Well, I mean, you even look at the iPad. I mean, now Apple's doing the iPad with these M1, M2 chips.
Oh yeah.
And with their laptops, and I mean they're super fast. they will almost run about anything, and you slap that into a mobile console, and you've got something. I mean, you.
I think convenience is what's going to keep Nintendo's consoles alive.
I agree.
I think that's what's going to. I think that's going to be such a benefit to Nintendo that you're not seeing out of, which Microsoft doesn't have to worry, right? Because computers are their thing too.
Well, so, I mean, and you say that the Wii U is so much different than the Wii, and the Switch is so different from the Wii U. But if you go back all the way to the Game Boy Advance, yes, the DS added the second screen at the bottom,
yeah.
But
and some light.
Right. But
the enemy to the Advance.
Right. But what did they add
That's
to
awesome.
the 3DS? Minus the three. I mean, you could play games in 3D. That was it. So they may, with the Switch, make a minor tweak and boost performance a little bit, make these games run a little bit better, and big knockout console.
Yeah.
Everybody would run back to the Switch and. Maybe
You remember all the
Overwatch and
connections?
Fortnite will actually play without having, which I will say Overwatch runs pretty well on the Switch.
Yeah.
Fortnite, yeah.
Overwatch, it has its moments too, but yeah, for the most part. But once again, you get in comparison to PC, like one of the biggest genres of games out there right now is first person shooters. Right? You got FPSs.
Right.
And you got Xbox, you got PlayStation, you got Switch. In my personal opinion, none of those are touching keyboard and mouse. There's so much more accuracy that you have with a mouse that you don't have with a controller, right? You have using your thumb to essentially dictate where you're going to be shooting.
Right.
Where you get on keyboard and mouse, your whole hand is in control of that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you have so much more points of contact to control where you're going to be aiming at.
Right.
And, it's so fast, it's so precise. I think, and so I think one of the biggest genres already is being taken over by PC gaming. And so I think, once again, hot take, I don't think consoles are going to be. Now, I don't know if it's going to be within the next decade, but,
Right.
I don't foresee them lasting as long as, which who knows? We might be sitting here talking in the next decade. We're all in VR. So
that was the next thing. So with the hardware expectations, PSVR 2 is fixing to come out.
a full dive system.
Oh yeah, right. And so I'm excited, yet hesitant because I don't like the fact that I'm going to have to buy Beat Sabers again, and I'm hoping that will transfer and all my packs will transfer over. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to dump a bunch of money back into Beat Sabers to play it on my PSVR 2. That will be one of those things that I probably give a little while to see the games that come out. I know that it's got the haptic controls like the PS5 control now, and the haptic triggers and all that stuff, and the pulse vibration and stuff. I mean, I really do think that's going to be a good hardware release this year. I think it's going to probably sell well. I think it's probably a little expensive for what it is, but I'm hoping that it does well. We see a lot of game releases.
Which, this could just be the sci-fi, fan in me, but, you hear a lot of, whether it's an anime, whether it's in some science fiction film out there, talking about being able to go into the video game, right? Become, almost integrated into the game,
right?
Where your body is still here, but your mind is in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's silly to talk about it right now, but who knows? Might get there.
Maybe. SAO.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to be joining that.
No, for sure not.
It's sad, but you probably will have a lot of people that, if that was an option,
oh yeah,
they would be like, put me in immediately.
Yeah. No, I'm not running I'm not running the beta for that.
Yeah. Well, I'll run the beta. I'm not first day. I'm gonna give it at least a few. I'm gonna give it like a month.
Make sure at least
okay,
you're not gonna get locked in.
I can get out of this one.
There's a log out button. Good
There's
deal.
a log out button. Okay, we're good. If they trick me, hey, power to you.
Yeah,
you got me. I waited my month.
Right. Well, and
you guys are smarter than me, I guess.
And I guess with hardware, we talk about upcoming games and things like that. I pulled a list. I know Persona 4 Golden, I think, is actually coming to Switch, I think, on the 19th. So next week. Again, I'm not a big Persona. I've really never played through one, mainly because my console of choice when I was
JRPG Pokemon.
Oh yeah,
is that what it is?
Yeah. and we probably will get bashed for that. Because,
100%.
Yeah.
That's all right.
So, for all those Persona fans out there, forgive us.
I think I actually a long time ago watched the anime of Persona 4. So
really?
He was the main protagonist. Yeah, I can't for the life of me remember. I remember it was good. It wasn't bad, but I can't. It was so long ago now. But another one, Hogwarts Legacy.
Oh yes,
I'm excited about it.
That's
About
a must
time
buy.
we finally get some Harry Potter representation. That the best game for Harry Potter is not Lego. No, not a shot on Lego.
No,
because listen, entertained me for many an hour.
Well, and
Lego Harry Potter. But
one thing
can we
with
get a game that's better than Lego Harry Potter?
One thing with Lego
for Harry Potter.
Lego, I will say this: the Skywalker saga. And I'll say and I'm gonna get knocked for this. I am not a new Star Wars fan. I grew up with Star Wars.
I think you're probably gonna you're gonna be crowned king with that opinion.
Well, I don't. Not to knock anything and knock
nothing
any
like
of the
Ray
creators,
Palpatine.
right? And not to knock any of the creators of that. I just can't get into it. It's not my cup of tea, I guess. But I will say that the Skywalker saga, remaking all those games, it was great. And what I would love to see, Lego go back out. I'd love them to see them make a Lord of the Rings / Hobbit
that would
remake.
Be amazing.
Because with the Hobbit, they never finished it.
Oh yeah,
the old Hobbit game. I think it was on Xbox One. They didn't finish it. It was. They had the first 2 movies, but they left the last one out. And so I would love to see a remake. I would love to see a remake of the Harry Potter franchise, the Lego Harry Potter franchise.
Yeah.
To the point to where let's see some more free roam. And I think that's where Hogwarts Legacy is really going to stand out. We have not seen Hogwarts like this before.
I'm so I haven't really dug too much into it. I've been trying to stay spoiler free on it, but it's like, are you allowed to equip your own spells? What's going to happen here?
So and I will. I've watched some, and I've tried to stay. So the family, we're big Harry Potter fans, and it's one of those things where the video hits YouTube, and I'm like, I don't really want to watch this because I want to take it all in the first time I see it in the game.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, okay, now that I've seen that there's a video, I can't stop, and so I end up watching it anyways. And just
flip to the
even
back of the book.
The common rooms are amazing with detail. And
really?
so one of the things is that one of the demos, and this isn't really spoiling anything, I know at some point, obviously, in the game, you get your broom. Mm-hmm. And you can walk down the road and start flying on your broom to an area and then get off.
But the real question is, can you join the Death Eaters?
I don't know.
Because if you're not allowed to do that, I don't know if I want to be.
Does this take place before Death Eaters? Is this going to be? I know this is a prequel. I know that it's not real. Well, as I say prequel, it takes place before the events of Harry Potter. I don't know how far back it goes.
And can you choose your own house?
I actually think that they have a sorting hat that you do get to choose your own house.
Let's go. Hufflepuff all the way, baby.
Oh, I don't know.
Hufflepuff.
I may have to.
It's going to be Hufflepuff. No offense to anybody out there, but come on.
I may have to speak the parcel tongue and slide into the Slytherin house.
I think I'm going to find myself Ravenclaw just because I don't want to be a normie and be Gryffindor.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Let's be honest. I think if we're all honest, I think Gryffindor would probably be the way to go.
I mean, if it was an MMO, I mean, it would be Gryffindor versus Slytherin.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be your Horde alliance.
You got a Hufflepuff trying to get out of the locker that they got shoved into.
Right. They're like, wait.
They're trying to remember the spell, how to shrink themselves down. They're like, what?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Wingardium Leviosa.
So
Fly up out of there.
we've kind of already touched on like Fire Emblem Engage. Oh, the Hogwarts Legacy. I think it's coming out February 10th.
Yep,
If
that's
my
right.
notes are right, I'm excited. But we've kind of talked about at the end of January we've got Fire Emblem Engage, and I think that's going to be a really good game, and I think it looks like something that I heard some people talking about how I don't think you're going to have played the other Fire Emblem games to get to know who the characters are, because apparently there's a ring system where you will be able to call on help from prior Fire Emblem characters, and I think that's going to work out. Something that I'm kind of excited for, and I think it comes out in February. Yes, 16th of February. And you're going to make fun of me, but this Theater Rhythm Final Bar line for Nintendo Switch, I think it's coming to all consoles.
Gonna be feeling the rhythm.
Oh yeah, for sure, because it's all Square Enix Final Fantasy.
Oh yeah.
And so, I mean, I could care less. I just want to play from like Final Fantasy 1 up to 7, all the music, and I would just sit there for hours till my fingers hurt.
Great music.
So I am excited for that.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got on the list.
I'll tell you one. This is going to be, it's also in February. And this isn't a new game, but this has been a game that has been console locked for a while. And I know I'm going to lose some people here, but I am a huge Digimon fan. Love Digimon. Absolutely adore the franchise. And I hate the fact that it was released at the time in which it was, because I personally, to me, I think Digimon has so much more substance to it than Pokemon, and I love Pokemon too, but I don't think it's a better franchise, even though it's the most popular franchise in the world. But I think Digimon actually is extremely good. Well, I think the concept and oftentimes the severity of their mission is so much more important. Like, we're talking about the end of the world, or something like that really gives you a sense of urgency. And just about every season that you watch, there's something super serious about this,
where you're not just trying to catch them all.
Yeah, I mean, until so you're not following this kid that never ages,
right?
And
I think in the next series he's an adult.
Yeah. Oh, I heard he wasn't. I heard he was booted out now that he's become the master of all.
But I saw something that
the champion of all Pokemon.
That the new character is his daughter. I think I saw something. It's probably speculation, rumor, or something like that. The rumor mill is alive with this.
Man, well, you got the whole family portrait. You got Ash. You got his new daughter. You got his mom, Mr. Mime. Professor Oak in the background.
Oh yeah, with his peace sign up
there,
right?
Yeah, so absolutely.
And before Digimon comes out, I'm a big. I say I'm a big Tales fan. I played my first Tales game on Nintendo Switch, and it was the remake of Tales of Vesperia. Mm-hmm. And I'd never played it before, and I've actually picked up a lot of stuff on Switch that I've never played prior to owning a Nintendo
not joking,
Switch.
Guys.
Got a lot of games for the Switch, but Tales of Symphonia Remastered is coming, and apparently it is a remake of a GameCube game. So GameCube is finally getting some representation on the Switch.
Let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you something, and I'm going to get so much. Listen, there was a time, and I know nobody's really going to care about this, but I'm going to tell the story anyways. There was a time I was very young, extremely youthful, and I really wanted the new Pokemon Emerald game. Pokemon Emerald just dropped. Wanted it so bad. I looked at my GameCube and said, "Hey, I don't play that very much." Traded my whole GameCube to a buddy of mine right down the road that had Pokemon Emerald. My whole game, a game that at the time, Pokemon games cost $30.
Wow.
And I was like, that's too much for me. So I traded my whole GameCube. I regretted it so badly after I realized what I had done. And no joke, a week later we moved. I was like, there was definitely no Indian giving there. It's like, wait a minute.
Well, and I will tell you this, I was
The most tragic story.
oh man, and so I had a
Heartbreak.
buddy that didn't play his. He's like, hey, I'll sell this to you for like $50.
Oh, man.
And I'm like, okay, what do I get with it? He's like, well, I mean, I got the console, controllers, I got a couple games.
Yeah.
I racked up. And so I remember buying, what was it? It was Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. And
Great game.
I got Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask with it.
Man,
And so I was like, man, this is great.
you got legit the Triforce.
Oh yeah, and the GameCube is still at the house because that's the only thing I can still play Star Fox Adventures on.
Oh.
And if Nintendo's listening, I would love a remake of Star Fox Adventures for Nintendo.
Speaking of new games,
or
holla at your boy.
yeah, or Star Fox in general. I mean,
Even an exclusive one, Nintendo, even if you don't release it to the general public.
I mean, Starlink was great, and I'm glad you added the story for the Star Fox portion of Starlink, which I loved. I mean, I think I sunk probably 40 to 60 hours in the Starlink, and very much enjoyed that game. And it was enough nostalgia for Star Fox to get me, you know. But I please release some Star Fox for the Switch.
Oh yeah. What else we got? We got
Well, I can tell you this, one of my big games, and it's going to be, you know, I've always been a big Kirby fan. I used to play Kirby with my granny. That's where I learned about Kirby. So Kirby's got some very fond memories, and so I'm excited. I get to you know, like, relive this nostalgia with my kids, and Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. It's a remaster of the 2011 Wii game, which I actually did not play. So all these Kirby remasters and stuff that have come to the Switch, I'm finally getting to play for the first time because I missed them, because somewhere between the Wii and the Nintendo Switch, I got lost in Azeroth.
so on the plains of Azeroth.
That
Riding
had my
my
attention.
griffin named Charles.
No, Mage Tino and I were lost in Azeroth.
Shout out to Tino.
So we got Octopath Traveler 2 coming.
Yeah. A lot of people liked Octopath. A lot of people.
I got a buddy that actually sold my Octopath 1 too, because I don't know. I love the HD 2D games, and for me this year, one of my favorite games was Live Alive. Very much enjoyed it. I did not get into Octopath as much as everybody else did, but
I love. Well, I mean, that's a part of why, you know, I like the nickname that I chose. You know, with sprites. I love sprites, man. There's something about them, right? Pokemon. You got, you know, like you said, Live Alive. You got the old Dragon Quest games.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, where it's just like almost standstill like graphics, and I love it. I mean, it's nostalgia for sure, but I think it's just, I don't know. It leaves some and leaves something for the imagination, I guess. I guess, but when you see things that were once pixels like that transformed into 3D, you're just kind of like, you know, sometimes it hits, sometimes you turn into Typhlosion, right?
right.
You're a fire type mon that doesn't even have a fire main or anything fire on your body, and so R.I.P. my boy Typhlosion.
I tell you what about
3D sprites.
Speaking of fire, if you're looking to get fit this year, fitness boxing Fist of the North Star is coming to Nintendo Switch.
So you can hit somebody with a 152 piece combo.
So I will say the first fitness boxing game I actually own, and there was a few issues with like the uppercut, like the Joy-Con just wouldn't read it, like and I don't know. When it's technical issues like that, especially, you get this like well, it's not Dance Dance Revolution anymore. What is it? Let's Dance and stuff like that. This Switch doesn't. The Joy-Con's not going to register that. I think I remember the Xbox One using the Xbox Connect, and it didn't even register it, and it was looking at you. So for something like
sorry for those who like to connect, but I don't think you're existent. I don't think you actually exist. Yeah, so I'm going to say this: it was so awful.
Well, and the kids will still pull out Connectimals, and they'll play that every once in a while. And it's like a great game for kids. And I'm like, okay, so we dumped all this money into R&D. For a game that you get 30 minutes of fun out of, and then that's
oh
it.
Man!
But I do. In all seriousness, fitness boxing Fist of the North Star. It looks like something I might actually pick up and play because if you're gonna throw down, let's throw down with some anime.
Yeah,
some anime characters.
Classic.
So let's see what else we've got on the list.
I might throw this one out there that is just very. I haven't heard much on it, but some sort of new Elder Scrolls game. It's been it's 2010.
There
from Skyrim. You got online. Right,
well, they did announce a new Elder Scrolls.
Is it Redguard that they?
I don't know if it got a name or if it was just Elder Scrolls because Skyrim is 5, so Elder Scrolls 6, I believe.
Yep.
I remember. Was it Oblivion that
Oblivion's 4?
Yeah, because that came out with a 360 release.
Yeah,
that was another
fantastic
midnight purchase.
Insanely good game.
Standing in line at GameStop at midnight.
And then Skyrim topped that.
Oh, absolutely.
Skyrim is
still selling.
There are people that are still buying it and playing it out like consistently.
Well, they just released like a special anniversary edition that adds a whole bunch of extra content just recently. Even the Switch got like an upgrade package. I don't know what it does.
Yeah.
I don't think we're changing anything graphics wise on the Switch at this point.
Well,
but
you got people modding it and also
absolutely.
It's insane. It's insane. You got people walking around with mods that like give you top hats.
Oh yeah, right.
We were fighting dragons and in a giant suit of armor and a top hat, just smacking them, sending them to the dragon's will.
Right, that's right. Send them on.
It's just, I don't know. It's, I'm ready for it. I love those games. They're great. Talking about open world exploration. That's it.
Well,
they keyed in on it early, 2010.
Oh yeah.
So I would love to see something new like that.
Well, and I think that I think we're running into a point where like games like this new Lord of the Rings Gollum, it's you are essentially playing Gollum through his adventure through Mordor and everything else, and as it looks very, very nice on PS5, where we've seen footage. I think it's pre-rendered footage or something for PS5 or Xbox or whatever, and it,
again, I think the Switch is gonna. I mean, Hogwarts Legacy again.
It's limited.
It's
yeah.
not gonna play well on the
It's-
Switch, or
it's
if
limited.
it does, it's not gonna look as good as PS5. I'm
Well,
finally
go-
gotten to a point where if it's a multi-release game, I'm probably gonna buy it on PS5 now.
Going back to the age of it. I mean, you got 6, 7 years old, and so or 6 years old, and so yeah, needs to definitely needs an improvement of some sort. Still a fantastic console, one of the best, but it needs more. But another one, this one, and I might be jumping ahead here, but this one I played the third one of Diablo. You got Diablo 4. I'm not a huge Diablo fan, but I've played them, and I know tons of people are ready for it to be a little redeemed.
Well, yeah, after the mobile version of Diablo Immortal,
After people dropped $100,000 on Immortal and did nothing with it.
Well, now they have the money to dump into Diablo.
Yeah, maybe we should make a game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Make people drop $100,000. That's insane.
Flappy Bird comes to mind.
Flappy
Was it
Bird?
Flappy Birds?
Flappy Bird took over.
Or I mean, you're an overnight success like Angry Birds, and I mean now you've got movies, TV shows, and I mean
Flappy Bird was overnight too. It came out of nowhere. Shout out to those who remember.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and not to touch too much on a lot of these because we've got, we've there's just not a whole lot of information, but there's a lot of Pikmin fans out there, and finally they're getting Pikmin 4. I know that everybody that's a Pikmin fan has been waiting for this, or I think they were kind of actually just hoping for a remaster of something because they didn't think Pikmin 4 was ever going to release.
I remember playing the very first one. The first and only time I ever did was in a McDonald's.
Oh,
And
wow.
I was like, what is this game? Could not figure it out for the life of me. I was like, what are these things following me? And I thought you were supposed to get away from them. And so I just kept running, but they kept chasing me. And I was like, what is going on?
I saw there was math in it, and I was like, no, I'm done with that.
But, that's your cup of tea, I guess. But
Well, Hollow Knight Silk Song. We don't know for sure when it's coming, but it's coming. I know that Hollow Knight was a big release. I have it. Big fan of Metroidvania games. Sad to say I have not finished Hollow Knight. Maybe I should pick that back up and finish it before Silk Song comes out.
This is a question that I would like everybody to just kind of think about, as well as Maverick here. But do you think that this year's games, do you think the top tier of this year's games is going to be able to touch Elden Ring at all?
Yes.
Because Elden Ring is phenomenal. I mean, I've heard so many people speak. I mean, of course, it's a Souls-like game, so it's going to be frustrating. But on the flip side, the level of intricacy that's in that game, from what and the proof's in the pudding. It won over God of War, which I think is astounding. But
would it have won if God of
surprising.
War had been out a little bit longer and more people had played it?
I think so. I think it still would have taken it.
Well,
I don't know if it would have been. I think it would have been closer.
Well, and I think with God of War, I think the downfall for it, and by no means is, and I have not played Ragnarok. I am holding off. I'm trying to finish some backlog first. But the first one was amazing. The 2018 version was amazing, and to live up to that, I mean, that's like your Dark Knight movie. I mean, nothing was going to live up to the Dark Knight. So then Dark Knight Rises comes out, and it's like, okay, well, I mean, it was a good movie, but it was, nah.
Yeah, it wasn't a Heath Ledger's Joker. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right. And do I think something's going to beat Elden Ring this year? if the hype for Advance Wars 1-2 Reboot Camp is anything, I'm thinking.
What did you just say? Advance Wars. What is that?
I mean, I know.
I don't even know.
I know a lot of people are looking actually forward to that reboot, that remake of Advance Wars. It's like a Fire Emblem. It's kind of like Fire Emblem Awakening. Where it is strategy, or turn-based kind of strategy, tactical.
I'm noticing a little bit here of just much like how they're doing, kind of movies nowadays too. Is there's just a lot of remasters, a lot of remakes, a lot of like trying to bring back some nostalgia. Not to say that it's necessarily a bad thing, to bring it to
I want them to stop, please. If you're listening, stop, please.
Well, for the live action things, I'm about, I don't know what Lion King was, but that was abysmal.
I mean, if you want to make a remake, please watch the original first. So we understand why the fans liked the original first.
But you got them kind of doing similar to that in terms of games. They're remaking a lot of remaster, a lot of remakes. So, but
well, and I mean, if Advance Wars doesn't do it, then Minecraft Legends probably will.
Oh yeah.
No,
I think the one that's going to get closest is probably the one that everybody's waiting for us to talk about.
Oh yeah, I mean, I do think that Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom is going to be.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the closest thing. I think that has a very fair shake at, if they do it right.
Well, I mean,
for sure,
Breath of the Wild won. So
yeah,
I mean, I really do. Tears of the Kingdom is going to go down as this game of the year. I mean, I'm calling it. It is.
Yeah.
It is.
I don't think anything's touching it.
Yeah, January 13th, 2023, and I'm calling this game of the year as Tears of the Kingdom.
100%. I 100% agree. I don't think. Well, okay. Like I said, I think you're gonna be surprised how many Diablo fans there are.
Oh, I agree.
There's a lot.
I think it's going to do well, but I really do think.
I don't think. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think it's more than Zelda fans. I think it's a lot closer than we think.
Well, and I really do think though that, I mean, Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, what are we looking at as far as? I know it was delayed. It was supposed to be a March 22 release. Breath of the Wild was a March release. I feel like, probably their plan was to do a March 22 release along with a Switch Pro, Switch Revision, Switch something, and with it getting delayed, I really do hope that if this is the game that the Switch goes out on, I hope it runs well. I hope it looks good. Breath of the Wild was an amazing game. Did it have its flaws? Yes, but for the most, it was a very polished game.
Yeah.
And I mean, is it going to hold up to the graphics of something like Ghost of Tsushima or or anything like that,
or God of War,
God of War, God of War Ragnarok, or God of War 2018. I mean, no, but will it be something that everybody's going to enjoy? And I do. I think the new mechanics. I'm curious because a lot of the mechanics that were in the first one will probably not be in this one because
it looks like it's on, and I could be mistaken, but from some of the videos and stuff, it looks like it's on a more elevated plane. Well, right? It looks like it's higher up, like in the sky. That might just be some areas. Well, I'm sure you're going to be able to go back to the ground for sure, but it just seems like a lot of it, maybe a good portion of it's going to be in the sky.
Well, and I hope what they don't do is they don't take the map from the original and just
carbon copy.
Yeah, and then just throw pieces of it into the sky where you're essentially in the same place. I mean,
make it new.
There would not be a point. But how do you take that world and create an elevated world above it? Which, I mean, the monsters look new. you see pictures of Link jumping from one of the islands down to the ground, and it's got that Skyward Sword look to it. And I'm wondering if Skyward Sword is going to be the story is going to be a part of this. Yeah, I'm wondering if this game is going to tie the Legend of the Zelda series together.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but like there's a lot of the Zelda stories that don't actually connect. Is that correct? I'm saying that, or do all of them correct? Because I'm not, I've played and beat a good bit of them, but not like to the degree where I've dug into it a little bit.
I think they connect at a certain point. I think
like are all of them the same link?
No. So
they're all like different. Because you got even the Legend of the Zelda game on the Game Boy, the Four Swords or whatever. You connected with 4 different people there.
Right.
So there's 4 different leads.
And so I think I don't know. Well, I'm gonna have to do some research and maybe a little closer to this we can dedicate an entire episode if you'd like that. Leave that in the comments and we'll definitely have an episode where we talk all Legend of Zelda.
Gotta dig into it. I would definitely like to. I know I'm excited for it. I know many others are as well. So.
Well, and I think this new mechanic. I noticed his arm is a little different. So maybe instead of having the tablet, he's going to have some powers in his arm. So it's a really wicked statue of this arm mechanic that they had at some game show. But some of the scenes. I mean, I'm kind of looking and I see the same map, but I'm hoping that I don't know if they start out underneath and then or above, or I don't know. It's going to be interesting. And as much as I am excited to see more content on Tears of the Kingdom, I'm actually hesitant to watch any of it because I kind of want to go into it with that whole Breath of the Wild. Like you walk out and there it is. I mean,
that's me all the way. I want to stay as spoiler free as possible. Same with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I didn't look at any spoilers. I didn't look at any gameplay. I made sure that I got the game and that I booted it up and played it for myself before I learned anything about it. So,
and I I'm sitting here looking at an image of the castle rising. Is this going to be a Deathwing thing? Is it going to rip the world apart?
Yes.
Deathwing.
Hey.
To the Dragon's Well as well?
To the Dragon's Well. But anyways, I guess, what are some final thoughts from you?
I think that I think I would like to see for this year, I think, Tears of the Kingdom is going to be a great game.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm holding out for Mega Man Battle Network, the collection. I think it's going to be a fabulous collection. Finally, we're going to get the Battle Network Mega Man collection. They've released multiple collections for the original Mega Man and Mega Man X and stuff, and so we're going to finally get Battle Network.
Yeah.
Metroid Prime 4, do I think it'll release this year? If it does, it's possible that it will be the final game for the Switch, I think. That or Tears of the Kingdom, maybe.
Yeah.
I would like
poetic ending.
I would hope to see at least confirmation of a Switch Pro, Switch new Nintendo console, whatever it may be.
Absolutely. I would too. I think that'd be great. I think that'd be a great way to cap off this year.
Oh, absolutely.
Is having some sort of confirmation, knowing that there's going to be. I would prefer it to be this year, but I would also want them to take their time on it, put some thought into it, put some effort into it. I would much rather wait a little bit longer for a good device, a good working device, an efficient device, one that is well thought of, than one that was rushed and thrown at us.
I say announce it in October, release it in March, release it with Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah. Hey, quite possibly.
We start 2024 off just right.
Just right. Start, I guarantee you that would make a lot of people happy. But
absolutely.
I think
guys, I think that's about it for our first episode.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in, and
Absolutely.
I know I speak for both of us when I say that we have been talking and looking at this for a while, and this is something that we're very passionate about, and we want to hopefully give you as time works out more and more episodes, and we hope that you'll listen and support us that way, and give us a like, and let us know what we're doing, what you like, what you don't like. We take criticism pretty well, I think, for the most part.
Yeah, fairly well.
Fairly well. I mean,
But,
you may get a little kickback.
Yeah. But we are so happy that you guys had tuned in. If you made it this far, we're glad that you guys came and experienced our very first podcast. We are, there's a lot of jitters, a lot of nerves, a lot of things that we're going to be ironing out. But I hope and pray that you guys stay with us. And in saying all of that, we mentioned at the very beginning, we want to not only give out our opinions on the matter, give out great content, and give out clean content, right? Which is something that me personally, I am always in search of, because it's few and far between. Good content and good opinions that don't follow with a lot of cursing, a lot of other things, and a large portion of this is because of our faith. Mark and I, or me and Maverick, we're both men of faith. We both believe in God. We believe in Jesus Christ as our personal Lord and Savior. And we think that that's a vital, and this is going to be vital in a part of this podcast. And
absolutely.
So if you are, if that's something that you also want to be a part of, we would love for you guys to continue to experience it. And we hope, my hope is this, that if you haven't accepted Jesus as your personal Lord and Savior, just know that it's as easy as asking Him into your heart and confessing that you are not as good as it's not that you're a bad person, but there's the reality that we have all fallen short of a holy God. And we are in need of a Savior, and Jesus is just that. And so you got to believe on Him, confess your faults to God, and the Bible promises you that you will be saved. And we hope that that's a decision you've already made, and if it is, I ask that you just join with us as we're going to dismiss, and we'll probably do this with every podcast. We're going to try to dismiss our podcast with a prayer, and so whatever you need to pray.
And before we say that, I just want to say that it's okay to love games and Jesus.
That's right, games and Jesus.
Games and Jesus.
Man,
that's what gets me up in the morning.
Man, if I had an Instagram, games and Jesus would be my tag. Oh man, that's great. I might get that on a bumper sticker. But anyways, games and Jesus, guys. I pray. Let's get ready to pray. If you will, pray with us. If you have something on your heart that you would like for us to pray about, send it in. We'd love to pray with you and pray for you. So, but we're gonna get ready to pray. And if you will, bow your heads. Unless you're driving, don't bow your head.
Oh, yeah.
Just pray along with us. Father God, thank you so much for today, God. We're thankful to be able to do this, Lord, to have a podcast and be able to influence whoever is listening, God. Lord, we're thankful for the ability to be able to do this, right? It's such a wonderful thing to be able to convey our opinions and do it in such a clean manner that hopefully a lot of people will come to enjoy. God, we pray now for all of our listeners, anybody that is listening out there and have made it to this far into our podcast, Lord. We just lift them up to you, and we ask that whatever their thing, whatever they need, Lord, whether it's illness or circumstance, or maybe it's nothing as serious as that. Maybe it's just something minor and small, Lord. Regardless of it, we're going to give it to you, and we're going to ask that your will be done in each and every one of our lives, God. That even in gaming, Lord, that you get the honor and glory in everything. God, we pray all of this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you
we hope
so
you
much.
have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace.